Remakes has been getting very popular as of late, and it's starting to become one of my favorite genres in video games. I love the idea of taking a beloved classic from the past and giving it a fresh coat of paint and fixing some of the issues while still staying true to the source material. And over the years, we've had quite a few good ones, including Crash Bandicoot's Insane Trilogy, Spyro Reignited Trilogy, Crash Team Racing Nitro Field, Medieval, and my personal favorite remake, Resident Evil 2. And honestly, there is a whole lot more remakes out there just waited to be played, and it's always great to look beyond the horizon and have our own list for potential remakes in the future. So imagine my reaction when I saw the trailer for the upcoming latest SpongeBob game that turns out to be a remake from one of the most admired SpongeBob games of all time, Battle for Bikini Bottom. I was just astonished at the announcement. I mean, I knew I always wanted to have a remake of Battle for Bikini Bottom since I have put it on my wish list, but to see it right before my very eyes, it's an awesome feeling. The original game overall was a standard 3D platform game. While it didn't do anything special or unique, but it played very well and I had a good time with it. But the more I think about it, the more I start to appreciate the quality that game had to offer. This is probably one of the few licensed games that I really liked because it treated itself as a video game and not some cringe fest that was made for a quick buck. Battle for Bikini Bottom got a huge popularity over the years due to the speedrunners and the amount of crazy things you can do. And really, it kinda just goes to show that if you have a beloved and loyal fan base, then any video game from the past can get a remake from the ground up. So with that being said, if anyone out there can make a remake of The Simpsons Hit and Run, that'll be great. Cheers. Purple Ant was responsible for this game being developed, and they have made other video games out there like The Guild 3 and Misbits. Two games that I have no idea what they are. But look, all jokes aside, they are new to the mainstream of video games, so we'll give them a fair chance like everyone else. So yes, we are going to talk about SpongeBob SquarePants Battle for Bikini Bottom Rehydrated for the PlayStation 4. And since this is a remake, we will be comparing this game to the original and see if it is the definitive way to experience Battle for Bikini Bottom. So with that said, let's begin. Oh yeah, and just before we start, I just want to give a special shout out to Zaku for making this awesome fan drawing, as it does really show off my obsession with Crash Bandicoot, and it definitely got a laugh out of me. So yeah, once again, thanks Zaku for this fan drawing. The story is pretty much the same, but for those who are new to this game, then here's a synopsis. Everything is peaceful down in and underwater of Bikini Bottom, then the camera shows us Plankton, who has an idea of taking over the world by commanding an army of robots thanks to his invention called the Duplicatron 3000. Plankton turns on the switch, but the machine has been accidentally set to don't obey, and as a result, the robots kick Plankton out of the chum bucket and the robot starts to wreak havoc. Meanwhile, SpongeBob and Patrick are playing with their toy robots. SpongeBob wishes that he could play with real robots instead, so Patrick uses his magic wishing shell, yes that is a real thing, to make sure SpongeBob wishes comes true. And on the very next day, thanks to some great timing skills, SpongeBob sees his house completely destroyed thanks to the robots. And now the story begins to blossom when Plankton convinces SpongeBob to gather enough golden spatulas to make it back to the chum bucket, while SpongeBob doesn't know who started the mess in the first place until towards the end of the game. So that is your story, and yeah, it's weird, it's wacky, and it's a bit ridiculous, but then again, that's exactly what the SpongeBob episodes are. In a good way, of course. Most of the episodes are pretty silly, but they always come up with some good entertainment. Like that one episode where SpongeBob and Squidward go off to deliver a Krusty Krab pizza, for example. And by the way, that's an iconic episode. So I think the story fits well in the concept of a SpongeBob episode, and as long as you don't take this seriously, it's fine for what it is. So now we have covered the story aspects, now we can look at this game as a remake. And in terms of remake quality, Rehydrated doesn't really do much with it, and I'll explain more about it later on. But for now, the graphics. This game looks really stunning. It always amazes me to how far we have come with video game technology. It does look a bit cartoonish, but it works in the game's favor. Jellyfish Fields probably has to be my favorite level to explore as it just looks really cool. But however, just because this game looks gorgeous doesn't mean it's perfect. At times, this game looks too bright for my liking. It's not a terrible complaint, but like I said, I am going to be comparing this game to the original. While the original's contrast was just right to my liking, but then the remake seems to turn the brightness all the way up in some levels, like the Goo Lagoon level for example. It may seem like I'm going to nitpick throughout the entire discussion video, but that's because I care about this game. And if I see something that catches my attention, I am going to call out on it. Having said that, if there's one thing they did correctly with the brightness is they definitely improved the lighting in the Kelp Force level, as I can finally see everything unlike the original game which was just dark. A strange thing does happen throughout the game, and that's the part where a certain chunk of the game loads up, you have some portions that are still rendering. It only happens for a split second, but it does look unusual to the eye. The face animations and expressions during the one-on-one conversations are a really good compliment, and it does make you feel like you're a part of an episode of SpongeBob SquarePants. From being happy, scared, sad, and shocked, the facial expressions are nice to look at. The gameplay is exactly you would expect from the original, and it's just as fun. The gameplay design does remind me of Super Mario 64 when you have your hub world, you can choose what level you want to check out, and go off into that level completing different tasks. Throughout the game, you can play as 3 different characters. You can switch around the characters by walking to a bus stop, and using it will trigger a small animation featuring a bus swapping the characters. The main character you play as is SpongeBob, and he's treated as the all-rounder. He gets the most movesets out of the 3 and quite enjoyable to play as. You also have Patrick, who is treated as the Muscle Man by lifting up watermelons and ice cubes. His body slam though seems to be off for some strange reason. I had no problem with it in the original, but here the body slam feels more difficult to stun enemies. And lastly, Sandy, who is being treated as the acrobatic. Each playstyle is different, and Sandy is probably my favorite one to play as. While I'm mentioning Sandy, I gotta say, the swinging animation feels off to me, as the movements doesn't feel as smooth as the original one. There are collectibles to obtain, with the main one being golden spatulas. And much like Jak and Daxter, you earn these by completing objectives like annoying Squidward, saving children from being stuck in the air by a balloon, and trying to get the ball into the hole, and yes, even in the remake, it is one of the most annoying parts about this game. Oh wait, hold on a second.
Solo-rama!
Hell yeah, on my first try. Justin 1, GameSpot 0. There's a motorbike just went past. You know, this is why I hate like vehicles driving by, because some vehicles you just have like a smooth sound, but then like a motorcycle comes around and he just goes. Your currency for this game are shiny objects. They are everywhere for you to see, and they even respawn when you load back into a section. If you do collect enough, you can pay to unlock certain pathways that could be either to progress into the game, or a small area that might include a golden spatula. You can also use the shiny objects to give to Mr. Krabs, and in return, he'll give you a golden spatula. The last items are Patrick's socks. There are 80 of them to collect, and for every 10 you give to him, he'll reward you with a golden back scratcher. I mean spatula. Sorry, I don't speak Italian. All jokes aside, it still baffles me that even though Patrick could just give the spatulas away to SpongeBob for free, since you do play as Patrick and you can earn spatulas as him and it does go into your total number, but in this case, he decides, nope, find my socks first, then you can have them. The reimagining designs of the levels still looks good as always, even though I did say that there are some levels that are too bright for my liking, but it's still cool to play through some of the more memorable levels in Rehydrated. But however, there's one particular level I'm not a fan of, and that would be the Sand Mountains due to the fog in the snowboarding sections. I don't really understand why they're included, as the fog was nowhere in the original. I can see what's in front of me, but it just looks weird to me. I'm honestly getting flashbacks from Spider-Man 2000 for the PlayStation 1 on how they used fogged in the background. Maybe it's because when you go underwater and open your eyes, there is a bit of mist when you look around, so that's probably why they wanted to put that idea into this game. Sounds like a good idea, but I feel that it wasn't unnecessary for a video game. The soundtrack is pretty much a copy and paste from the original, and it's not entirely bad, because after all, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. However, a part of me personally would have loved to have a much more updated and modern version of the music. Every other remake has their OST revised, and I would say that most of the music in those remakes are better than their original score. But as I have said, it's not that big of a complaint. But I gotta say, I am disappointed that they also did the same thing with the voice acting. It's not too bad, but I think having an updated voice cast really could have taken this remake to a whole new level. And yes, with the copy and pasting, we still get the cringy voices of Mr. Krabs and Mermaid Man. Now, as most of us SpongeBob fans will know, the voice actor for Mermaid Man, Urgus Borgine, and I hope I pronounced that correctly, did pass away back in 2012, so out of respect, I'll leave him out of the conversation. But as for Mr. Krabs on the other hand, they could have easily gone Clancy Brown to voice Mr. Krabs in Rehydrated. I could understand why they didn't in the original, maybe because they didn't have enough money to hire Clancy Brown, but I'm not sure what the reason is for the remake version. And after all, he did appear in other modern video game titles like Detroit Become Human for example, so there's literally little to no excuses on why they couldn't get him unless if they didn't want to put in the extra work. As always, the references to past SpongeBob episodes are still here, and they even gone on to add new ones to make it a much more fresher experience. Rehydrated does indeed have detail, from the flower lettering the words hi, the cave version of SpongeBob, the art photo of Squidward being handsome, and the idle animations. These are honestly one of my highlights about this game. And look, they're even doing the memes. This made me laugh out loud, and I was impressed Purple Lamp added this in. So throughout my journey, I did discover a few glitches. Nothing too noteworthy, but some of them involved me restarting my console because there was no other way to fix it. Another cool thing they added was the different types of language you can use. So if you always wanted to have your very own Japanese inspired anime version of SpongeBob, then by all means you can do just that. Wait, what? They already have? Each character in Rehydrated was recreated very well, except for the NPCs. Some of them look pretty odd looking to me, and I especially don't like it how this chick is winking at me. Please stop it. Wait, what? Did that person just dabbed? So first we had the flossing in Spyro 2, and now this? Dabbing is a crime in video games and it should not go unpunished. Mrs. Puff also looks off to me as well. I know she looked like she was on meth or something in the original, but man, that honestly was a memorable part to me. In the remake, they did remove it, making her stance more normal, and it feels strange without it.
Don't ask questions you aren't prepared to handle the answer to.
Yeah, it's just not the same. The bosses in Rehydrated are what you expect, and overall, they're okay. It's not too tough and it's pretty straightforward. You get to face off against many foes like King Jellyfish, the Flying Dutchman, and even take on the giant robot versions of your 3 playable characters. However, what I don't like is having messages popping up telling you what to do, thus ruining any type of challenge. I know this game's target is for the younger audience, but so was the original, and even that game didn't tell me what to do as I had to figure it out on my own. Yeah, it does seem bad when I put it like that, but really it's not. It just means you have to come up with your own ideas on how to beat that boss on the fly, and it becomes a much more satisfying victory when you do it without any guides. Now, one of the big selling points about this remake is the added bonus of multiplayer mode. Unfortunately, I have not experienced this because A, I don't have anyone to play it with, and B, I'm not looking to renew my PlayStation Plus membership anytime soon. But what I have gathered due to the overall reception is that the multiplayer is way too repetitive and goes on for quite a long time. Although I do like the inclusion of Robot Squidward, who was apparently supposed to be in the original but got cancelled in the last minute. So I should mention the trophy side of things, and it's actually pretty easy to obtain the platinum. 100% the game and do some additional stuff along the way, and you'll get it in no time. The only challenging part is you will have to grind your way to get a ton of shiny objects, and this method I'm doing is probably the best way to do so. Like always, I try to keep my hype level to a small fraction because I don't know exactly what to expect. And I gotta be honest, I really enjoyed my time going back to Battle for Bikini Bottom in the style of a remake. The graphics at times looks gorgeous, the gameplay is fun as always, and the details and references are a delight too. This game, however, does suffer a major flaw that comparing it to the other remakes out there, it does really show. For a remake that was based on the original, I felt at times Rehydrated did not feel like a remake. I believe with all the resources Purple Lamp had, they decided to go for a safer route to reach to their end goal. There were certain features that were copied and pasted, like the music and the voice acting, which, don't get me wrong, it's fine, but for a remake quality, I was expecting this game to take it to the next level. If only they had more time to work on it to fix up some of the minor errors and the glitches and try to make it the best game they can come up with. Of course, I kinda think the game was rushed only because the new SpongeBob movie, Sponge on the Run, was going to be released sometime in the middle of 2020, so Nickelodeon wanted to have that game released around that time to cash in the hype. Then due to COVID-19, the movie release date got pushed back to next year, leaving Rehydrated on their own. So overall, I will say that this is the definitive way to experience Battle for Bikini Bottom because we can now play this game in modern consoles. But if it's cool with all of you, I'll probably just stick to the original game for now, until some of the technical issues have been patched. But please do not let my personal opinion get to you. If you like the original version, then you're definitely going to like the remake version. Because after all, who doesn't love the little yellow sponge who lives in a pineapple under the sea? And that was my thoughts on SpongeBob SquarePants Battle for Bikini Bottom Rehydrated. Let me know your thoughts if you prefer the remake or the original down in the comments below, and until then, thank you for watching this video, and if you enjoyed it, make sure to leave a like, share the video, and subscribe today. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram, the links will be down in the description box below. I'm Justin from That PlayStation Nerd, telling you to keep calm, and keep playing video games.